Mr. Gavaskar, thanks so much for joining us again on NDTV, sir. Good to have you here on the show. First up, on a scale of 1 to 10, sir, how highly would you rate this win in Mohali in terms of just how complete a win it was for Virat and company?
Well, I would rate it 9.75. I think it was that impressive a win. I think apart from that little period after tea when India was batting and they lost 3 wickets in quick succession, India dominated all the 4 days of this test match. So I'd give them 9.5 to 9.75 out of 10. They were that impressive.
Wow, that is a spectacular score really, and coming from someone like Mr. Gavaskar. 9.75 on 10. That's almost a perfect performance really by Virat Kohli and company in Mohali. Mr. Gavaskar, I also have to ask you, what really, according to you, was the big turning point of the match? Where do you think England dropped the ball?
I think they dropped it in the first session of the match itself. They had won the toss. This was a very good pitch to bat on, as we saw even right till the end. And they lost 4 wickets in that first session, 4 of their top batsmen out, some of them playing shots which were very forgettable and for their experience particularly, and therefore they were not able to recover from that. I think when you bat first on a pitch like this, the minimum score that you need is 350, maybe 400. If they had got to 350, which would have meant that they would have batted for about 4 sessions, 4.5 sessions, they would have stayed in the game. But having been dismissed for under 300, they were never in a position to control the game. Their only chance was to restrict India to maybe 300, but then India's spinners with the bat showed that they were capable of rescuing their team. So clearly I think this is a performance that the Indian team will find absolutely near to perfect performance from this Indian team.
Right, we'll of course talk about India's lower middle order performance, especially with the bat, in just a bit with you, sir. But before that, would you say that what makes this particular win in Mohali, and also we have to talk about the win in Vizag, you can't really divorce the two here. These 2 wins, would you say they are more special because these were not rank turners? It's not like the English were shot out by the Indian spinners. These 2 were overall complete wins, and that makes it more special.
Yes. I think there's no excuse really for the Englishmen about the pitches or conditions or whatever. The conditions here in Chandigarh were pretty much English-like conditions. The weather was cool throughout the test match. Vizag, yes, Vizag was a bit hot, but the pitch was very good. And again, I think England didn't bat as well as they should have in both the innings. They dropped the ball over there. And only on day 4 evening and day 5 when they lost their wickets at Vizag, would you say that the pitch was maybe a little too much in favor of the spinners? But you would expect that on day 5 of a pitch anywhere in the world. Right. So they have very little to complain about. And to their credit, they have not complained. England have accepted that they haven't played good cricket. They might not agree that India has played superior cricket, but they will agree that they haven't played the cricket that they are capable of.
Right, going back, sir, now to the point that you were making about India's lower middle order and especially the way they played with the bat, would you say that really was one of the key differences between India and England so far, at least in the test series? Because whenever India's been in a spot of bother, the lower middle order has bailed them out with the bat. The English, you can't really say the same for them.
Absolutely. I think, when the series started and in the first test itself, there was that partnership between Ben Stokes and Johnny Bairstow, and everybody was talking about how that wicket partnership, the 2 of them had rescued England since the last year and a bit and had several 100-plus partnerships or several key partnerships. Perhaps taking a cue from that, our bowlers, Ashwin in particular, batted superbly in all 3 matches. Under his guidance, Ravi Jadeja played himself in, then started to play shots, and then Jayant Yadav joined Ravindra Jadeja in enjoying the pitch here at Chandigarh and notched his first half century. So yes, 7, 8, 9 were perhaps was the key. They were the ones who took India past the England total and gave them that substantial lead of 134.
Right, let's talk about two of those players that you mentioned, Mr. Gavaskar, in that batting lineup for India. Let's start with Ravindra Jadeja first. He's been adjudged the man of the match in this Mohali test. Now, I remember when he made his test debut in 2012, he had his fair share of critics. A lot of people questioned whether Jadeja deserved a berth really in the Indian test team. He has now cemented his place, but would you say he has silenced those critics once and for all?
Yes, I think you can say that he has certainly shown that he's worth his place in the team. 2012, when he came in, perhaps the performances at the first-class level were not such that gave those who were criticizing him the confidence that he deserved a place in the team. But over a period of time, and now over a period of 4 years, he's matured. And that innings in Chandigarh, where he scored 90, I think shows his maturity. The way he's also started to vary his pace just a little bit, make the adjustment for the line and the length for the bowlers when there's a little bit of turn in the pitch, shows how well he has come on. And today I think he fully deserves his place in the Indian 11.
All right, from Jadeja, Mr. Gavaskar, let's move on to Ravichandran Ashwin. Now, here's someone who's, and we've spoken about this in the past as well, someone who's batting better than a lot of specialist batsmen in the world. But when it comes to Ashwin, the bowler, sir, do you see him setting up and foxing batsmen much more cleverly now? You've seen that evolution take place in Ashwin, especially say over the last year or year and a half?
Yes, I think that tour of Australia, where he struggled at the start, 2014-15, where he struggled at the start, then I think he picked up a lot from two people who I think were instrumental. One, of course, was Ravi Shastri, who was the team director, and secondly, the opposition's off-spinner Nathan Lyon. I think he saw the line. Nathan Lyon was bowling around the off-stump, just outside the off-stump, and he moved his line from middle and leg to just outside the off-stump. Now, whether it was because of Nathan Lyon, I'm not too sure. But if you want to get ahead in the game, you've got to learn not just from your teammates but also from the opposition. And Ravichandran Ashwin is a very, very clever cricketer. He's a very, very sincere cricketer. He's a very hard-working cricketer. And therefore, I think he made those adjustments in his bowling, focused mainly on the off-spin. Once you get your off-spin right, then you can vary the line, the length, the speed at which you deliver. You can even, vary when you release the ball. You release the ball sometimes behind your head, or on top of your head, or a little front of your head. And I think you can see he does that just ever so slightly. It doesn't. They are not big changes. From here to here to here. There's not big changes, but that can vary the length. That can deceive the batsman, and that's what he's doing. Look at the dismissals of Alistair Cook, and look at the dismissal of Moeen Ali. Brilliant stuff.
Well, now you know just how nuanced the art of spin bowling can be, especially when it comes to test cricket. Also now from Ashwin, Mr. Gavaskar, let's talk about the one man we always have to talk about, of course, these days when it comes to Indian test cricket, Virat Kohli. We won't talk about Virat Kohli, the batsman, but we have to talk about Virat Kohli, the captain. I remember you telling us that you would have liked to perhaps see him be a little bit more attacking in his field settings on day 3, I think it was. But that, of course, doesn't matter because India has won this test match in Mohali and taken an unbeatable series lead. But when it comes to overall Virat, the captain, he's now gone, I think, 16 tests without a loss in his career as captain. And you are the perfect person to ask this question too, because you hold the record for India at 18 tests without a loss. How have you seen the evolution of Virat Kohli, the captain, in the time that he's taken over the skipper's role?
Well, just like his batting, he's getting better with every test. Look, there's no such thing as a perfect batsman. There's no such thing as a perfect cricketer. And there'll never be anything like a perfect captain. But he's getting better every time. And that is bound to happen with experience and confidence. And now I think he's, sometimes a captain does not have the personnel at his command because of whom he can be attacking, because of whom he can look to have the kind of fields. But I think he's getting there now. He's beginning to believe in all his players, and the players are responding to him. And therefore, India is in this happy situation of being 2-0 up.
All right, just a few quick questions more, Mr. Gavaskar, and I have to go back to Team England now and the way where they slipped up really. Do you see England's performance so far as a case of them being underprepared in any way, or is it just a case of them not having good enough personnel vis-a-vis the kind of men that they had on the 2012-13 tour?
Well, they can't be underprepared. They were in Bangladesh, where they played on pitches which were even, which turned from day one. So you can't say that they were underprepared. They certainly were prepared because they made the effort to go to Bangladesh before they came to India. So that was one thing. But I think, the personnel have not put their hands up. I do believe that, Moeen Ali batting at 4 or 5 is a little too high for him. And although he got 100 in the first test, when the pitch starts to do a little bit, then I think he probably is better off batting at maybe 6 or 7. So I think the top order is where England have been struggling a little bit. Apart from Joe Root and Johnny Bairstow, nobody seems to be able, and Ben Stokes, nobody seems to be able to combat the Indian spinners with any degree of confidence.
Right, of course, Alistair Cook's form or lack of it rather has really hurt Team England this time on this tour of India as well. Mr. Gavaskar, thanks so much for joining us. It was great having you here. It'll be interesting to see how Team England bounce back. Remember, the series isn't over yet. 2 more full tests left to play after this one. Mr. Gavaskar, thanks so much, sir.